expecting about 2,000 people, and I can't give you guys the final number because I've been sworn to secrecy permit challenges, but we exceeded. I can't tell you exactly by how much, but we exceeded that. Anyway, so I am doing a live stream right now with Coach Ruben. He is amazing. He's a health coach in Sacramento, and he does health seminars throughout Sacramento. He's my mentor, so I'm actually super lucky that that I get to work with him and learn from him. So he's starting. Enjoy.
All right. To the valiant belong the spoils. Yes. All right. Very, very good. So I've never had to compete with a band before. This is an entirely new experience for me. I'm glad you stayed. Thank you for being here. So Ian, if you could press that button on the right on the back. It's the red button on the back of the camera. That one there on the right, up above. Yes. Press that. Does it say power on? Okay, to the left of the camera, it says power. Press that. Now you got to realign the camera. Power on, and then press the button on the back.
Getting ready for this live stream.
Press the button on the back so it's recording.
Anyway, so we've had amazing food this whole event.
All right.
Wonderful music.
Thank you for being here.
Here we go.
My name, Ruben J. Guzman. I go by Coach Ruben. My initials, MPH. By the way, MPH, those of you, how many of you have never been in one of my seminars before? Raise your hand if you've never been in one of my seminars. I'm so glad you're here. Wonderful. MPH does not stand for the speed that I drive my car. No. Okay? Just want you to know that. It stands for Masters in Public Health. I got that degree from UCLA back in 1988. I specialize in behavioral sciences and health promotion and advanced psychology degree. I love my program. When I got done, I had a very important decision to make. Do I or do I not go back to medical school at UC Davis School of Medicine, where I had spent 3 years studying to become a physician? I realized at that point in 1988 that I was passionate about promoting health instead of treating disease. And as a result, I chose not to go back to medical school, and I chose to pursue studying lifestyle medicine on my own. There was nothing called lifestyle medicine back then. It didn't exist. I was ahead of my time. And so I started studying lifestyle medicine on my own, but I have news for you. How many of you, raise your hand if you did not know, there is a new branch of the American Medical Association, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Wow. Raise your hand if you did not know that before today. Wow, awesome. I'm going to tell you more about it later. It's an evidence-based approach to prevent, reverse, and treat chronic disease, and we know we can do a better job than with medications. Isn't that exciting? It's an entirely new field, and last October I went to the Lifestyle Medicine Conference in Indianapolis, and after the 4-day conference I took the board exam, and I am board certified as a lifestyle medicine professional. It only took me 30 years to find my tribe, but I am now board certified in lifestyle medicine, so I'm a lifestyle medicine professional. There's only like 2 in Sacramento. That's it. That's it. So thank you. Yes, it's awesome. It's awesome. So I'm living my dream. I'm living my dream. So I want to talk about today, like, what's on my plate. Why do I choose, as a board certified lifestyle medicine professional, as a public health professional, why do I choose whole foods as opposed to processed foods, and plant foods as opposed to animal foods? Why do I choose that? So let's start this conversation by understanding something very important that we determine in psychology. I taught psychology at DeVry University for 3 years. In psychology, we define a belief as a strongly held opinion. Okay, it's a strongly held opinion. That's all a belief is. That's it. It's just a strongly held opinion, but some of us live like our beliefs are the truth, don't we? How many of you have people that, no kidding, they tell you what they believe and they're really attached to their beliefs? How many of you have people like that in your life? Yeah, absolutely. So in psychology, we define it as a strongly held belief. It's not necessarily the truth. But what if some of our beliefs are incorrect? What if that's the case? What if we've been intentionally lied to, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and deceived in order for some people to make more of our money? What if there was a better way and we just didn't know about it? Wouldn't you want to know about it? Would you? How many of you would like to know about it if there was a better way? Yeah, absolutely. So here's what I discovered is that when it comes to our beliefs, beliefs change over time. Some of our beliefs are just not, they're not true. They're just not. We used to believe something about 500 years ago. You know what it was? That the earth was flat. There are still some people that believe that the earth is flat. Did you know that? Yes, they are flat earthers. Yes, they believe the earth is flat. They actually have their personal view of the earth like this. But the earth is not flat. So we have all kinds of beliefs that have emerged over history of time, and they're not necessarily the truth. So what we need to be able to do is question our beliefs. So what if what we have been told about nutrition, what have we been taught about nutrition, is actually inaccurate? What if that's the case? What if we are actually living, well, by the way, how many of you have seen the movie The Matrix? Okay, what if The Matrix is actually a documentary and not a work of fiction? What if? What if the food industry has been telling us things in order to make our money? And what if there's a better way that we can actually make a difference in our health? Wouldn't you want to know about it? How many of you are ready for that? Okay, you're ready for that? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So consider for a moment that we've been programmed. We've been programmed in this world that we live in. In fact, I'm going to suggest something very interesting. I want to see if you know the answer. All right? Plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, what a relief it is.
You've been programmed. My friends, that ad hasn't shown in over 30 years. 30 years. Now you date yourself. We've been programmed. The marketing and advertising professionals in this country are brilliant. They know what they're doing. You still remember that? It hasn't played in over 30 years. We see commercials like Got Milk, and we think it's good for us. And it's just marketing. That's all it is. It's just marketing.
That's right.
We hear things like beef.
That's about it good.
It's what's for dinner, right? Oh, they even put the ad, they put on the ad, right, funded by beef farmers and ranchers. We don't pay attention to that. We pay attention to how their ad makes us feel. By the way, recently there was an interesting article that came out. It was the Annals of Internal Medicine, and there was a scientist who promoted this research study saying that beef was actually not bad for you. How many of you heard that one? You heard that one? Yeah? Oh, they found out. He's actually been a consultant on the payroll for the beef industry. Interesting, isn't it? Yes. So we have all kinds of interesting controversy. So consider that what we've been programmed to believe is not true. And one of the things that I discovered also, when I was in medical school, I discovered that what they taught us about nutrition in medical school was actually very interesting. At UC Davis School of Medicine, first year of medical school, we had a whopping 10 hours of nutrition. 10 hours. That was it. 10 hours. First half of the class, marasmus, kwashiorkor, beriberi, and scurvy. Have you seen any of those cases lately?
No.
We haven't seen any of them in 100 years. Interesting. Why are we spending 5 hours studying things that we haven't seen in over 100 years? Why are we doing that? Interesting. And then the other half of the class, we studied all the micronutrients, you know, vitamin B1, B2, B6, C, D, A, K, all the different vitamins. That was it. Nothing practical in terms of clinical nutrition. Not one bit, not one drop. I didn't bring it with me today, but I actually saved the book that they gave us at UC Davis School of Medicine. It's interesting because most of the books that we had to buy in medical school were rather expensive, $150, $200. In the nutrition class, they actually gave us the book. They gave us the book. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, beautiful color pages. And the book was provided for us by Upjohn Pharmaceuticals. Do you think there's a conflict of interest? Perhaps. Just maybe? Just maybe. I started to see the connection back then and started seeing that there's a connection between pharmaceutical companies and the medical society and the whole medical world. Half the pages in the Journal of the American Medical Association were taken up by pages by the pharmaceutical industry. So it's rather interesting. We've got research. We do have research. If there's a better way, I went looking for it. That's what I started to do, and I started to pay attention to research from some of these notable people. You may know some of them. So here are some of them, in case you don't know some of them. This is Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. I'll talk more about him in a second. Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Pam Popper, Dr. John McDougall. These people put their life on the line to actually do research that's legitimate, to really make a difference for you and me. That's what they've been doing. They've been committing their lives to this. And so I started doing the same thing. Because there's information out there, but it's not just on the internet. You have to really go looking. So there's lots more information that's available to us. And we have to really look. So my question is this. What's on my plate? Why do I choose to have only whole foods, not plant-based? I mean, whole foods, not animal foods, not processed foods. Just whole foods and plant foods. Why do I do that? Why do I choose that? Now, you may hear from many other people their reasons. There are 3 major reasons that most people will tell you as to why they choose to have this kind of a dietary approach. One is for the animals. Okay, so many people are what we call ethical vegans. So they choose to have only plant foods because they don't want to contribute to the suffering and slaughtering of animals. Perfectly legitimate reason. That's one. Another reason is for the environment. And that's a perfectly legitimate reason because we know animal agriculture contributes more than any single other cause to greenhouse gases and the decay of the planet. We know that. Another reason is for health. Many people suffer, and when they go to a plant-based diet, they find remarkable improvements by being able to change over to a plant-based diet. Today, I want to give you my personal 3 reasons. Now, I became vegan, strictly vegan in 1995. I became vegetarian in 1981. And what started me becoming vegetarian, changing my diet, was autopsies. Yes, I did autopsies. Before I went to medical school, I was a pathologist assistant. For a year and a half, I did over 75 autopsies. I got to look inside the body of people who have died from chronic diseases, complications. So people who have died from heart attacks, aneurysms, heart disease, cancer, all kinds of things. I got to see the inside of the body. And one of the things that I got to do was take the entire intestinal tract of those people, take it out of their body cavity, and then put it into a big deep wash basin. And then I had to take my surgical scissors, and then I had to split the entire 17, 22, 23, 24 feet and wash it out by hand.
Oh, Lord. That's horrible.
It was nasty. And you don't even want to know what it smelled like.
I know.
But the thing is, I got to feel the inside of their intestinal tract, so I knew what was going on the inside. I felt cancers, I felt tumors, I felt polyps, I felt all of that with my own hands. Yes, I had gloves on. But it was rather interesting to go through that experience. And then Dr. Glover started training me to actually do autopsies, and so I started dissecting things like the aorta. And I remember one time I was cutting through an aorta. And it was... I said, Dr. Glover, what's that? He says, oh, those are your cheeseburgers there. Those are your cheeseburgers there. And I said, oh. I stopped eating cheeseburgers. And I dissected carotid artery. He said, oh, Dr. Glover, what's that? Oh, those are your hot dogs there.
Oh, Lord.
I stopped eating hot dogs. So I started making some changes. Slowly, gradually, I started making changes. And then in early 1995, after rupturing my Achilles tendon 4.5 years earlier, I was 55 pounds heavier than you see me today. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar. The nurse practitioner told me I was a mess. I didn't care. I was depressed. I didn't listen to her. It was only when my friend, I use that term loosely, walked up to me and said, getting a little chubby there, Ruben. Now, I had a buttermilk donut in my hand. I wanted to throw it at him, but I didn't want to waste the donut. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, you're my friends. Okay, thank you. So I want to give you my 3 reasons as to why I changed. Why I changed to a whole food plant-based diet. Number 1 reason is love. Here's what I've learned. All there is fear or love. That's all there is. One of my teachers is Don Miguel Ruiz. Anybody know who he is? He wrote the 4 Agreements. All there is fear or love. That's all there is. There's no in between. There's no gray zone. There's just fear or love. You're either on the track of fear or the track of love. That's it. That's all there is. Two most powerful motivating forces for human beings are fear and love. So for love, if not for love, then why? Why are you doing it? Consider that we need to be able to, as human beings, love ourselves first and foremost. We need to start there. We need to love ourselves. That's what we need to be reminded of every single day. By the way, how many of you have seen the billboards that say love? Anybody seen the billboards that say love? Pretty powerful, isn't it? It's great. There's a whole movement. It's a whole movement. By the way, I'm going to send you the slides from today. I'm also going to send you some really amazing videos, including the video about the love movement. So I'm going to send you that. So I've got some yellow cards out back there, and I'll ask you to fill that out, and I'll send you all kinds of free information, get on my mailing list, all kinds of great stuff. But there's this wonderful man who retired, and he's actually putting billboards up. There are billboards getting up all over the country now that say only one word: love. It starts with ourselves. We need to be able to love ourselves. Most of us are far too critical. We beat ourselves up mercilessly. You see, we can't love anyone else until we first start to learn how to love ourselves. That's where we have to start. It starts with loving ourselves and really being good to ourselves and taking care of ourselves. That's where it all begins. We have to be able to love ourselves. And only then can we love other human beings, truly, and really connect with people and accept them for who they are. And when we learn to do that, well then guess what? We learn to love all of life. We learn to love all of life that there is. And we can actually love everything that lives, and you can actually embrace all that lives and actually have a love affair with every life form. There's no way you could kill that cow after hugging it like that. Now, could you? No. You couldn't do it. How many of you have pets? You ever talk to your pet and say, okay, you got 30 more days to live and then I'm going to butcher you? You don't do that. Nobody thinks of doing that. All there is fear or love. One of the most significant reasons why I eat the way that I do is because of love. All there is fear or love. If not for love, then why? Ask yourself that question. Second reason why I eat the way that I do is because of leadership. Now, on my picture, it would have to be 4 boys that I'd be leading because I have 4 sons. Ages 33, 27, 21, and 19. all of us here, especially you back there with that little in the carriage there, right? Whether you like it or not, you are that child's leader for the rest of your life. Everything you do, not what you say, everything you do, that child will pay attention to. By the way, they will not listen to what you say, just so you know. But everything you do makes a difference. They will pay attention to everything you do. And whether we like it or not, as adults, we have a responsibility to make a difference for our children, to make a difference for our grandchildren. We are leaders whether we like it or not. And we lead by example. And it's powerful for us to actually be that example. And when you embrace that responsibility, you embrace that position of leadership, and you know that everything you do makes a difference, then you don't take anything lightly. All my 4 boys are healthy because of me. My youngest just debuted as a collegiate swimmer last night. And he's a plant-based athlete. He's a plant-based athlete. It makes a difference. So it's powerful. It's powerful. And we have to be powerful as leaders because guess what? There is no planet B. There is no other planet. We got to take care of this planet. We are responsible for this world in which we live in. We're responsible for our children, our grandchildren, whether we like it or not. We are responsible. That's what it means to be an adult. The third reason that I eat the way that I do, and it's beyond health, it's more than just health, it's vitality. Because I don't want to just grow older. If you heard Dr. Don Forster, he talked about we actually have in the United States, we have shorter and shorter life expectancy, and we have the highest rates of disease and disability at the end of our lives. So we have more suffering at the end of our lives here in the United States than any other country. I don't know about you, but I want to go out like this. How many of you want to go out like this? Yeah, with vitality, right? Like no kidding, like energy and vitality and the fullness of life, right? That's what we want. My godparents, Mike and Mercedes Messina, they danced to the very weekend that he died when he was 86. Every weekend at the Officers Club in San Pedro. He was a retired naval officer. I was only the second man to dance with my godmother at the age of 92. She died at 102. Amazing. Sharpest attack. I don't know about you, but I want vitality. I want that. I want to be able to have vibrancy and energy. That's what I want, and I want to pass that along to my children as well. So my invitation to you, my friends, is this. Question your beliefs. Your beliefs are simply strongly held opinions. That's all they are. You believe certain things are true, but where'd you learn that from? Question them. How'd you learn that? Who taught you to do that? So we have to start to question our beliefs. Question the information that you hear on TV or the media. Where'd that come from? Follow the trail of the money. You'll find out. Question if there's a better way. And there is. And I'm going to send you information on that. So now you're wondering, how do I create a thriving, healthy, happy life? How many of you would like to know that? How many of you would like to know that? Yeah, great. So we're going to talk about creating a thriving, healthy life that's filled with health, energy, vitality, and fun. How many of you would like to have this kind of a finish, right? You want to have a finish like this, right? Yeah, this kind of energy. Let's do that. Let's do that. So let me ask you a question. If you're living your best life, if you are able to do that, and you imagine that right now, do you have a plan to get you there? Do you have a plan to get you where you want to be, having this kind of vitality in your life? Chances are you don't. Most people don't. I do. And I'm living proof. Fortunately for me, I've coached athletes now for over 40 years at a very high level. I've had 3 of my athletes go to the Olympic trials. I've had over 37 swimmers go off to college and swim. I have a 4-point plan. It works in sports, it works in business, it works in health. Here it goes. Number 1, the game changer starts here. We must begin from within. We must change our mindset, our thinking, our attitude, our consciousness, and awareness. Einstein said the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. Now, we didn't create them intentionally. We created them subconsciously. What I teach is how people can actually get inside their subconscious mind. And when you understand that, you have true power, real power. Second thing, we need a proven strategy. A proven strategy, because doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results, is the definition of insanity. Thank you very much. Let's not do that anymore. Third, we've got to be intelligent about this, and we've got to create a new structure for support and accountability. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is successful by themselves. Nobody is. Nobody. Did anybody here graduate from high school with no teachers and no books? Anybody? I always have to check. Okay, it didn't happen. So we all need support, and we all need accountability. And then the fourth thing, we need a track record of consistency. Now, the research shows it takes about 21 to 30 days to change just one habit. But how many habits do you think it takes to change a lifestyle? 20, 30, 40 habits maybe. So it takes a long time and a lot of consistency. That's what it's going to take. So I am board certified from the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. What I basically fundamentally do, what lifestyle medicine is about, is being able to change your habits, your lifestyle habits. There's 7 major areas. So we've got sleep. Sleep is critically important because we need to be able to sleep. I'm going to talk more about that. I'm going to talk about all of these in a minute. Nutrition, physical activity, emotional well-being, stress management, alcohol and tobacco reduction, healthy relationships, and hydration. So I'm going to talk about all these real briefly. I'm just going to give you one tip in each of those areas tonight. One tip, just one thing that you can take away with you today and start making some changes. How many of you would like to be able to start making some changes to improve your lifestyle starting today? You'd like to be able to do that? Okay, great. That's what we're going to do. So number 1, we're going to talk about hydration. This should be on CNN every single night, as far as I'm concerned. The number 1 killer in the United States is heart disease, and stroke's right behind it, very close behind. Research out of the Adventist Health Study, 50% reduction in heart attacks by doing one thing, drinking 5 glasses of water every single day. 5 glasses of water. How many of you drink at least 5 glasses of water every single day without fail? Okay,
Not today.
more room for opportunity. Okay, so you can improve that right off the bat. Right off the bat. Okay, this should be on the news every single night. 50% reduction in the number 1 killer in the United States. This would be remarkable. Remarkable. So start your day out. This is my tip. 2 glasses of water first thing in the morning every single day. You get up, you drink your 2 glasses of water. That's what you do. First thing. That hydrates your brain. Your brain doesn't need the caffeine, my friends. It needs the water. Give it the water. It's 80% water. Your brain's 80% water. So give yourself the water. Let's go to nutrition. Here's the deal. Based on the evidence and the research, the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and the International Board of Lifestyle Medicine both support a whole food, plant-based, oil-free diet. Here's why. Here's what the research shows. There's only one dietary approach that completely reverses the number 1 killer, heart disease. Only one dietary approach that does that. That's it. I'm going to show you the evidence. 99.4% effectiveness. Oh. How many of you like those kind of odds? Yeah? All right, very good. We'll go with that. The only one dietary approach that causes positive genetic expression, I'm going to show you how that works, increases the telomere length on our chromosomes, I'm going to talk about that briefly, and demonstrates the best long-term weight loss. I have yet to see any other dietary approach, keto, paleo, any of them. You name any other diet, none of them does this. Not one. I've had their top experts I've challenged them. I've talked to them. I've asked them to talk to me. They can't do any of this. They can't do it. There's not one other diet. Don't play games. This works. All right, let's talk about atherosclerosis and heart disease. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, he wrote this book based on research he did a long time ago, about 2008. He started this, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Now, here's what happened. He did this research. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. He had 24 patients, complete. The ones who followed the diet, they lived for over 20 years. They were on death's door, and they lived for 20 years longer. They were told to get their affairs in order and go home prepared to die. They lived for an extra 20 years plus. But he was criticized for that because they said it was too small a sample size. So he said, they asked him to do another research study with a larger group. He said, fine, I'll do another one. So he did. So in 2010, he gathered 198 patients. 198 patients. 21 of them did not follow the plan. They did not follow the plan, but 177 did. Now, here are the results. Now, I'm going to send you this in the email. So, Ann, if you could pass out the yellow cards at some point here. Okay, that'd be great. And then if they need pens, they can fill out their email. So here are the results. The people who did not follow a plant-based diet, they just kept eating their old regular way. Here's what happened. Red is bad, blue is good. All right, 4 years later, 62% had another cardiovascular disease event within 4 years. This is kind of expected. 38% did not. So we pretty much expect those kinds of results. But the ones who did follow, they did follow a whole food, plant-based, oil-free diet. Want to see the results?
Yeah.
You want to see the results?
Yeah.
Yes? You want to see the results? Okay, blue is good, red is bad. Blue is good, red is bad. 4 years later, 99.4% free of cardiovascular disease. We have yet to see any medication come close to this. So this is definitely statistically significant. All right? So I'm going to send you the research so you can read it for yourself. Not only that, he actually even had a clinical case study with one of his colleagues who did a repeat angiogram after going into the study and doing the program because he couldn't get a bypass surgery. So 32 months later, after this angiogram where he was told he couldn't do a bypass, 32 months later, he had completely open blood vessels. Completely open, completely reversed the heart disease. Completely! Completely! That's like the most definitive test you could possibly ask for. It's amazing. So that's heart disease. Number 2, let's talk about cancer. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn. How many of you know about her? She's a Nobel Prize winner. Nobel Prize winner. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn in California at the University of San Francisco. So what she showed is that if we go to a plant-based vegan diet, within a period of 3 months, it turns about 200 genes on that prevent cancer and 300 genes on that contribute to longer health, better health. 500 genes get altered in the period of 3 months just by changing one thing in the diet. Amazing. How many of you would like to prevent cancer? How many of you would like to be able to do that? That's pretty remarkable, right? So we want to be able to do that. How many of you would like to live longer? Yeah, well, Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn also did this groundbreaking research on looking at the genetic level of the chromosomes. So these caps, the green caps here, these are the caps of the chromosomes. So the green caps, it turns out, the telomeres, the shorter the telomeres, the shorter we live. The longer the telomeres, the longer we live. And we've done the research, when we're on a whole food, plant-based diet, we get longer telomeres. How many of you would like to do that? No other diet does that. No other diet does that. That's it. That's the only one. Okay? And this came out just earlier this year, April 2019. This is from the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention. Plant-based diets, when compared to other dietary approaches, scored best in long-term sustainable weight loss. And by the way, how many of you would like to lose a few extra grams of fat? Okay, very good. Liars, raise your hands too. Okay, very good. So here's what I always tell people. If you want to lose a few extra grams of fat, don't listen to just anything. Don't try another fad out there. Listen to somebody who has lost at least 50 pounds or more and kept it off for at least 20 years or longer. That would be me. Okay? All right, there's just a few of us around. So you want to listen to somebody who's done something like that. All right, now here's another, so that's nutrition. Let's talk about exercise really quickly. Here's what the research shows. The best optimal range of physical activity is 150 to 300 minutes per week. 150 to 300 minutes per week. 150 is the minimum. 150, 150, 150, 150, 150, 150. How many minutes?
150.
150. Do the math, figure it out. Don't do it all at once. Okay? All right, so that's what you got to do. In fact, you'll be happier than if you had $25,000 more a year. That's what the research shows. In fact, one of the best forms of exercise, especially as we get older, here's what the research shows. Albert Einstein School of Medicine did this research on seniors, and they showed seniors had the greatest reduction in the risk of dementia, 76% reduction, by dancing frequently. So get your salsa shoes on. Yes, it's time to dance. Yes, it's time to dance. Yes. All right, that's why I'll be a salsa dancer for the rest of my life. All right, so you got to make sure you dance. Okay, so now that's physical activity. Now let's talk about stress. So when it comes to stress, there's so much. By the way, I have whole entire seminars on all of these topics. I have 16 free seminars that I do in the community all the time. So I'm going to send you the email so you can get the link and know when I'm doing those and get on my schedule. So find out where I'm going to be doing those. So stress management, I do a whole seminar, but I'm going to give you one tip tonight. So one of the simplest things about stress is being able to control your breathing. Slow it down consciously and intentionally. And what we show in the research is that when you do that, it actually shifts your central nervous system state, reduces your blood pressure, reduces your heart rate, changes your neurotransmitters and everything else. It's really amazing. So everybody do this. Follow my instructions. Everybody on the count of 3, you're going to inhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale slowly. Hold. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale slowly. Hold. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale slowly. And relax. You just lowered your blood pressure. I'll send you more information on that. Isn't that amazing? Don't you feel so relaxed? Isn't that amazing? That was just 3 breaths. Imagine doing that for about 5 minutes, and maybe 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing. All right, by the way, stress is so important. 86% of all physician visits are related to stress. So here's another tip when it comes to stress, and that is being able to let go. How do you let go? Well, you have to let go of your attachments. Oh boy, we got those. So we have attachments as human beings as to how we think life should be, how others should be, how we should be. So we say things like, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, I should do this, I should do that, we shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. We should all over the place. That's what we do. Right?
Yeah.
So I love this from my teacher, Dan Millman, who says life is not suffering. It's not suffering. It's just that you will suffer it as long as you hold on to your attachments rather than enjoy it. Until you let go of your mind's attachments and just go for the ride freely. As another one of my old teachers, Dr. Wayne Dyer said, the way to remember how to live life peacefully with no attachments, the secret is in a song. And in fact, you probably know the song. In fact, I think you probably know the song really well. In fact, you probably could sing it really well, but I'm going to explain it to you in a different way. The song goes like this. Row. Row. Row your boat, not somebody else's boat. Don't jump into somebody else's boat. Don't let somebody else jump into your boat. Row your boat only and only your boat. Row gently. Gently. Peacefully. Calmly. Not vigorously. Not stressfully. Not with anxiety. No, none of that. Just gently. Row gently. Oh, row gently down the stream. Don't go back upstream. No, don't do that. That's the past. No, don't go back into the past. No, stay away from that. Row gently down the stream. And remember to do it merrily, joyfully, happily, peacefully. not with stress, not with anxiety, not with fear. Isn't that a beautiful way to understand the song? So next time you are in the shower, start singing to yourself, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Merrily, 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 life
Is but a dream. Okay, very good. All right, so that's what you want to remember for stress management every single day. Every single day in the shower, sing row, row, row your boat. Okay, now to substances. If you smoke, we know smoking causes all kinds of problems, including cancer and many other things. Quit smoking. Here's my recommendation. If you know anyone that smokes, tell them to get this book. This is powerful. This works every single time. 100% always works. So use this book. It is fabulous because it gets inside here, inside your head. So this is a great recommendation. Absolutely read this book. Second area, I'm going to burst some bubbles because I know some people here living in Sacramento they can't help themselves. I mean, we are surrounded by breweries and vineyards everywhere you look. But the reality is, my friend, there is no safe level of alcohol. None whatsoever. There is no safe level. Physiologically, alcohol is not safe. Every single level of alcohol causes problems. Now, years ago, there was this research that was done that was funded by the alcohol industry. And what they showed is that the famous J curve, that they had 4 groups: abstainers, moderate consumers, heavy occasional, and heavy regulars. So what they did is they showed this and they said, well, looking at mortality, the best mortality is those people who had just a moderate amount of alcohol. So everybody said, oh, a little bit's going to be good for me. Oh, it's all the resveratrol and all that other good stuff. Oh, yeah, I want my wine. Yeah, I need my wine after work. I need to relax. But there was a problem with the research. Here's what they did. They classified this group as abstainers. Abstainers. So abstainers, here's the deal. They included 2 groups of people, and they called it one group. People who have never had alcohol, and they included people who were not currently drinking alcohol, but they were in Alcoholics Anonymous. That's bad research. It's bad research. You can't do that, all right? That's not legitimate research. So you have to tease out the people who are in Alcoholics Anonymous, and when you do that, here's what we get. We get a straight line progression. So when we do that, we see for every increase in alcohol, there's an increase in mortality. That's the story, all right? So that's the news. That's how it works. Okay, sleep, another major factor for our health. Very interesting statistic. And we're about to experience, when do we change our time?
Week after next.
What's that?
Week after next.
Week after next, right? Okay, so that's right. So fall, we're going to fall which direction? We fall back. So in the world, we have 70 countries that are participating in daylight savings time. 70 countries. 1.6 billion people. Here's the interesting statistic. What we show in terms of sleep is this. When we spring forward in the spring, we lose an hour of sleep. We show the following day a 24% increase in the rate of heart attacks, suicides, and car crashes go up as well. Just from 1 hour loss of sleep. When we fall back, aren't you glad fall's coming? Okay, fall change, we're going to gain, we fall back, we gain an extra hour. The following day we have a 21% decrease in heart attacks. That's amazing. It's a big difference. This is worldwide. It happens every year. So you want to be able to sleep peacefully. I love this picture. Okay, so this is what you want to be able to do. If you have sleep apnea, what we show in the research, you have a 70% increased risk of Alzheimer's. That's a huge additional risk. Huge, huge, huge. 70%. You need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Most people get, in the United States, less than 6 hours on average. All right, so that's not good. So short sleep equals shorter life. That's what happens. All right, now when it comes to relationships, so that's sleep. You got enough on sleep. And by the way, the most important thing is a regular schedule. A regular schedule. Set up a regular schedule. That makes the biggest difference when we have a regular schedule. All right, now let's talk about relationships. Last area is relationships. I grew up learning something very important around relationships and interacting with other people. It was called the Golden Rule. How many of you know what the Golden Rule is? How many know? So what's the Golden Rule?
Do unto others.
Do unto others as they would do unto you, right? It's a good rule. Very, very good rule. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a very, very good rule. How many of you have tried to live according to the Golden Rule? Okay, very good. Wonderful. It's got a flaw. It's a good rule. Don't get me wrong. It is a good rule. It's got a flaw. What's the flaw? It assumes that other people want to be treated the same way you do. Right? But do they really? You don't know. So we have to upgrade the Golden Rule. Did you know that there actually is an upgrade to the Golden Rule? How many of you knew that there's an upgrade? Okay, only a couple of you knew there's an upgrade to the Golden Rule. It's called the Platinum Rule. Did you know that there's such a thing? Yes, the Platinum Rule is do unto others as they would have done unto them. It's not about you.
Not about you.
It's not about you.
I know that.
Yeah, get you out of the equation. Do unto others as they would want done unto them. Remember this, that the person's greatest emotional need is to feel appreciated. So you got a homework assignment from me. I'm always giving homework, by the way, just so you know. I always give homework. I love giving homework. So there are 2 books. So one is The 5 Love Languages. If you haven't read this one, it's absolute gold.
Awesome.
If you're in a relationship, you must read this. If you're in a workplace, you need to read the second book, which is The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. Also awesome. They are both fabulous books. The five love languages, the 5 languages of appreciation. Here they are. Number 1 is tangible gifts. Some people love getting the King's tickets or the Starbucks gift card. They love that, but some people don't. Some people would rather have your time. That's what they would rather have. They'd rather have quality time spending with you one-on-one. But some people, they need to hear it. They need to hear, thank you, I appreciate you, thank you. They need to hear those words of affirmation. But other people, they need to feel it. Of course, it needs to be appropriate, right? All right? So that's how it has to go. It has to be appropriate, but physical touch. But then finally, some people, they need to see you pitch in when they're busy. That's how they know that you're really contributing to them. They feel appreciated. So acts of service are important. Now, if you have trouble remembering these 5s, it's real simple. You just have to remember tacos. Tacos? Yeah, tacos. Okay, Joshua Perez, I love this. Joshua Perez talks about being able to remember the 5 love languages by just remembering tacos. All right, so first one is words of affirmation. And you tell someone, I just want you to know your tacos are delicious. Yes. Okay. And then acts of service. Oh, I made you this taco. Okay, that's acts of service. And then receiving gifts. Oh, here's the taco for you. Yes, 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 yes. And then quality time. Oh, let's go out for tacos together. Yes. And then my favorite. Oh, let me hold you like a taco. So some examples of people, I have many champions who have actually followed this whole food plant-based diet and this lifestyle and changing their lifestyle. All right, one of them's right here. Okay, so this is Pat. When she started with me, she was 220 pounds, and she was actually 280 before. When she started her journey, she was at 280 pounds. And this is just recently. I just took this picture. But here's the big deal about Pat. She's happy. She doesn't go down the rabbit hole anymore. Like when you change your entire lifestyle, everything changes. How many of you would like to be able to change your lifestyle and be happier, be more peaceful, be able to sleep better at night, and not get stressed at work? How many of you would like to have that kind of lifestyle? Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what we're talking about. Here's another one of my champions. All right, and this is Donna. Okay, and so when she started with me, now she had been a vegan for 8 years already in this picture here. Already a vegan, but she was an unhealthy vegan. There was some things in her diet that needed change, in her lifestyle that needed to change. So just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're necessarily healthy.
Say it again.
So we had to change. Yes. Just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're necessarily healthy. All right, so we needed to change some details. So we did the tweaking, and so then here she is, and a year and a half later, she's 60 pounds lighter. So it's really remarkable,
She worked
really
with us.
remarkable. So it makes a difference.
True.
So
We're all nurses. We all work together.
I want to finish with a couple of quotes.
Yeah, she looks good there. Yeah, even more.
First is from one of my mentors. Dr. Albert Schweitzer was one of the most prominent physicians and humanitarians in history. And he did great work in Africa. And he said this: we must fight against the spirit of unconscious cruelty with which we treat the animals. Animals suffer as much as we do. True humanity does not allow us to impose such sufferings on them. It is our duty to make the whole world recognize it. Until we succeed and extend our circle of compassion to all living creatures, humanity will not find peace. I think that's rather profound. And then here's something I wrote. I was sharing with my boys about the purpose of life. And I wrote this: our legacy is what matters, what truly matters. How deeply we have loved ourselves, others, all of humanity, all the animals, our Mother Earth. Second, how much we have grown and learned about ourselves, each other, our world, and our universe. And thirdly, how well we have used what we have learned to serve others, our future generations, and the future of our planet. There's a prayer that I say every day. Thank you, God, for everything. For everything indeed is a blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives each and every day. Thank you for this food to nourish our hearts, our minds, our bodies, and our souls. Thank you for this precious time that we have right here, right now, the present. And thank you for love that brings us together. For all there is fear or love. And we willingly and joyfully, we choose love. We choose love. We choose love. So my invitation to you, my friends, is to change what's on your plate for love. Because all there is fear or love, and not for love, then why? Choose love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thank
That
you,
was
Ruben.
great. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time.